The two biggest rising stars in the business had the same rating average throughout the month, continuing the road to main event spots, with Goldberg getting bigger by the week and Rock establishing himself as the leader of the nation. Rock started April in a match against Owen Hart weeks before joining the group, drawing a 4.5 rating, while at the same time continuing the feuds with Farouk and Shamrock along with the start of the program with DX. Goldberg's biggest number of the month was record-breaking, promoted in his first title match against Raven for the US belt. Goldberg vs. Raven was placed to start just as Raw went on the air on April 20th, going on to draw a big 5.7 rating, the highest-rated opening segment in history. Undertaker, Kane and Paul Bearer's program was heating up further after WrestleMania 14, taken to the next level in a series of out-of-the-box angles to build to the first Inferno match between them for Unforgiven. The first 2 weeks of April saw Bearer hyping the reveal of Kane's father, while a week later Taker was at the cemetery to confront Kane and Bearer in a show-long angle that saw them driving the casket to the building, drawing the peak rating of the night 4.9 rating. The feud's other show high came on May 11th with Taker attacking Lawler after an interview with Bearer the previous week that saw Kane and Bearer coming out to confront Taker, drawing another 4.9. Roddy Piper was back full-time on TV in April to build to a tag match with Giant against Hogan and Nash at Spring Stampede, boosting numbers for every promo on the way to the match, with the biggest being the day after the pay-per-view, bumping Nitro to a 5 rating while announcing the main event title match of Savage vs. Hogan, closing May in a heated confrontation with Randy Savage and Bret Hart that jumped over 600,000 viewers to a 4.6 rating. Similar to most feuds in April '98, the WWF managed to make every WrestleMania feud hotter in the follow-up of the event, with Sable vs. Mark Marrow as one of the main ones, doing some of the highest numbers on every show throughout the month, including 3 peak segments of the night, the most in the WWF for April and May. The 3 big segments first saw Sable's promo hyping the Unforgiven match against Luna, doing a 4.9 rating on April 20th. A teased Sable vs. Marrow match on May 11th jumped over 300,000 viewers to another 4.9, while a Sable-Marrow segment which included a match against Farouk to set up Loser Leaves the Company match at Over the Edge on May 25th bumped draw to a 4.7. After months of heat between key head figures of the group, the NWO split was official, with Nash taking over the Wolfpack to cement himself as top opposition to Hogan. Weeks before it, with Scott Hall out with personal issues, Nash was starting his run as a singles headliner, finally getting his world title shot after 2 years, going against Sting in the main event on April 6th, with the match jumping huge to a 5.8 rating. The highest opposed number in history, which saw WCW win its 83 week in a row exclusively on the back of the record rating, as Raw was leading with 15 minutes to go in the show. Nash's other peak number came on May 11th in an impromptu promo confrontation against Hogan that saw both taking legit shots at each other, drawing a 4.5 rating, ending the month recruiting both Luger and Sting to the Wolfpack on May 25th to massive crowd reaction. While Steve Austin was perhaps the WWF's most consistent viewership mover over the last year, April '98 was the month Austin officially went to the next level, with him established among the industry's top-tier TV stars and the WCW headliners. Austin, who up to that point was able to reach the ceiling of the WWF audience, broke through and attracted a significant percentage of the entire Monday night audience to his segments, with the two biggest numbers coming in the first 2 weeks of April. Coming out in a suit for a makeover as the new champion, Austin teased going corporate before turning on McMahon as the Raw viewership skyrocketed to its highest rated segment ever, drawing a 5.6 rating. A week later, after 2 hours of hype for a teased Austin vs. McMahon match, Raw finally won the night after almost 2 years on the back of a Monday Night Wars record 6 rating for the segment. Austin went into May feuding with McMahon's group along with headlining pay-per-views against Mick Foley, including a 4.7 rating for a main event tag with Vince against Rock and D'Lo on May 11th that saw Raw staying in the lead. After a strong performance in March, Vince McMahon dominated WWF television in April and May as the centerpiece character in opposition to Austin, proving to be one of the biggest drawing performers in the business, with Raw ratings breaking through to all-time heights. With Vince already being involved in Raw's two biggest opposed segments of all time in the last month, the results coming out of April surpassed anything reached before in show history. Vince's attempt of turning Austin corporate saw Raw jump over 1.2 million viewers to a record 5.6 rating, a week later, with McMahon promoted to wrestle in his first ever wrestling match, with him shown all over the show in every segment on the way to the main event. Raw broke the 83-week losing streak as the McMahon-Austin confrontation bumped Raw over 1.5 million viewers to an all-time record 6 rating. Riding the momentum and interest, Vince continued to be featured heavily on every show along with Patterson and Briscoe, with him officially wrestling his first ever match on May 11th with Austin against D'Lo and Rock, coming over 2 hours after Eric Bischoff challenged him to a shoot fight on Nitro earlier in the night, closing May in a show-long angle of him being arrested by Austin and booking him against Taker in a promo that gained over 600,000 viewers to a 4.5 rating. Sting started April in 2 title matches against Nash in the TV main events, with the first one on April 6th, and the first ever match between them saw WCW jump over 1.7 million viewers to an all-time record 5.8 rating. Sting's other peak segment came on May 25th after a show-long build to him potentially joining Lex Luger and the Wolfpack, with the main event of Sting and Luger against Giant and NWO Sting, along with the post-match angle of Sting getting the red and black shirt, gaining over 900,000 viewers to a show-high 5 rating. Randy Savage had the joint highest rating average and the most viewers gained for his segments and matches than any other performer in the business during April and May '98, working through and delaying knee surgery due to the peaking business, with him as one of the biggest driving forces behind it. Savage was building to a pay-per-view main event against Sting doing an injury angle on April 6th, with a footage of the car attack hyped for the crossover segment at 9 p.m. drawing a 4.5 rating. Savage's biggest number of the month came on April 20th, a day after winning the WCW title, as the main event on the night of Savage vs. Hogan shattered every record in Monday Night Wars history, jumping huge with over 2.4 million viewers to an all-time high 6.5 rating. The next time Nitro was back on Monday night, it was Savage vs. Hogan again in the main event, with the company trying to regain lost momentum due to the TNT preemptions, as the match picked up over 900,000 viewers to a 4.4, ending May in a strong confrontation with Roddy Piper and Bret Hart to build the Great American Bash tag match that jumped over 600,000 viewers to a 4.6 rating. After months of negotiations with him driving WCW to all-time peak business along with the WWF closing the gap by the week to add to his leverage, Hulk Hogan signed the biggest money contract in wrestling history by the end of May, coming after having another strong month with record numbers on TV and pay-per-view. After only having short appearances on the first 2 shows of April including losing to Raw in the second one, WCW plans to respond putting on one of the biggest TV shows in company history with Hogan back in the main event against Randy Savage, as the match saw WCW taking back the lead and winning the quarter by its highest ever margin with an all-time record 6.5 rating, smashing the record 6 rating drawn by the Austin McMahon confrontation the previous week. The proven Hogan vs. Savage formula was back again on May 11th doing a 4.4 rating in the main event rematch, with Hogan in a segment less than an hour earlier drawing the peak rating of the night for a confrontation with Nash that saw Giant joining NWO Hollywood, ending April and May on top of the list.